Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy. And for this round of 12 zodiac sign readings, we are going to do this 10 card spread. And we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because not everybody harnesses high vibe Scorpio energy. And in relationship to other people, life's about learning lessons. And, some people, we could feel some people in our life are kind of immature or prideful or stubborn or uh, lazy or bossy or whatever. They in turn could feel some people in their life are in that energy. We're kind of looking for people who have learned some of the same lessons that we've learned and are kind of on the same page as us. But ultimately, high vibe Scorpio is about people who want to be in deep, meaningful relationships, and we're emotionally complex human beings. And some people keep their emotional nature more buried beneath the surface. They might not let people know that originally, that they find their emotions like really confusing or scary, and they might not really want to do love, might want to create the illusion of love and act like love and talk like love and quack like love, but not really emotionally invest themselves in people, because you have to be willing to take a leap of faith, and you get hurt, and some people aren't willing to do that, and we just need to see the truth of it. And Scorpio is also emotional water sign energy, about what we have a deep emotional attachment to. Some people have a deep emotional attachment to the world, or their ego, or their fear, or their defensive nature, or other people in their life, whether it's a friend group or their original family, and they're not willing to maybe be more independent and live their more authentic life. And, our shadow nature is all these things that manipulate us. And some people have freed themselves from more things than some other people have. High vibe energy is about being independent, have learned how to love yourself, feel stable and grounded kind of within yourself, and and all that takes learning lessons, and some people haven't had that life experience, even if they're the same age as you, you know? So we're going to read it. We're also going to get an oracle card out, and at the end we're going to ask what might be a potential outcome or coming up for people that people don't see coming, depending on if they harness a more high vibrational Scorpio energy or a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy. And we all tap into Scorpio energy because of those things that I just mentioned. What we're emotionally attached to. Have we learned to love ourselves? Have we not? Do we believe in love? Do we not? Do we want to be in deep, meaningful relationships? Do we not? And if you harness high vibe Scorpio energy, it's to listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story, where some other people are at in the story, and the truth sets you free. We can stay in denial, or we can deal with the truth of the situation. Our dreams can only come into reality with people who are kind of on the same page as us. We got the crossroads card. A new business, adventure, project, or career is currently in the works for you. Okay. We'll keep that in mind as we go. And then I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which is, what is our truth? And I think we could look at the Ace of Swords as harnessing all three of the air sign energies in our Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini energy. Gemini energy is about what our truth is in our free will. Libra is about what we think is just and fair. And Aquarius is our idea of the dream life. Are we more about ourselves and the world? That's what our goal, what drives and motivates us? Or do we look at life from a higher perspective and believe in that there's more to life than just us or what the world tells us to make our life about? So at the end of the story, we have the Lover's card, which is Gemini energy, air sign energy, about what our truth is. Whatever our truth is probably what we're going to invest our time, energy, and effort into, because in Aquarius energy of the Queen of Swords, we have a dream. And we all have a way of looking at life that we view as like the dream foundation to operate from. And people, it's either going to be, I guess just all those things I explained. So let's continue on. What is going on in Scorpio energy? Well, some people are defensive and they're turning their back to the truth. You know, as we learn lessons in life, the Hermit card talks about looking at those things we'd rather keep hidden in the dark. I don't want to deal with my fear, my insecurity, my pride, my ego, my codependency, my lust, my greed. I don't want to see the truth of it. And some people, what they're hiding from is love. The Four of Pentacles can be, I don't want to open up to people. The Queen of Swords can talk, the feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel. I've been betrayed by people before, and I'm defensive. I want to move forward, hiding from love, holding back from the truth. I'm going to invest in me, protecting myself, or looking like a shining star in the world. And maybe if I have a certain status or image or money or my attractiveness, there'll be people who are willing to stay in a relationship with me because of those reasons, which the Four of Pentacles can be more about these things of the world. And if they can find someone who might also be defensive to love or defensive to loving themselves, hasn't gotten over their own past pain and heartbreak, they might find someone who's willing to move forward with them in a relationship. And we've all felt betrayed. We've all felt more fearful, and we all like to stay in our comfort zone. So to a degree, all of us at different times have kind of been in that energy. The Knight of Swords is heading to the past, which is where we can want to stay in our comfort zone, rather kind of stay with the devil we know, or live our life the way we've been living it, than be open to change and having hope and faith and belief in our dreams, right? And just like we've been there, we might know some other people who are kind of still in that energy. So some people who are defensive, though, they want to be in relationships with people. They want to have these certain things in their life, just like everybody does. I want to look like I've got the dream life. I want to look like I'm a shining star in the world. I want to have the things that other people have. The only thing is that some of the more worldly, shadowy people have an idea. I know. I might be mad at some people in my past, so I'm going to go get in a different relationship. I might be trying to manipulate someone in my past to do the relationship the way I want them to do it, so I'm going to go get in a different relationship. But regardless, they're going to wear a false mask. Because if they were to tell people, I'm defensive to love, I don't like to open up, I still feel betrayed and I haven't worked through those issues, or I'm more egotistical and materialistic, they'd have a hard time probably finding someone to get in a relationship with them. So they wear a false mask. The queens talk about how we think and feel. The masculine cards can represent how we present ourselves in the world. And we can wear a false mask. And in shadow, the kings can mean that people are operating more from their ego. Whether they're male or female, they present themselves as like a loving family person, but really they're defensive to love. So they're operating from their ego. And if you're not being truthful and honest and authentic, you're kind of wearing a false mask and trying to manipulate people into viewing you a certain way. And that's what some people are doing in the world. And they might try to go heal a relationship with someone, or they thought maybe about some of their past pain and heartbreak, but instead of wanting to deal with the truth of it, I have an idea. I could do that, but I don't want to do that. So let's hide this. Let's not show people this. Ten of Cups. Let's not show people. If I did have people in my life that were aligned with high vibe energy of hope and faith and belief and love, let's try to hide the truth about why I held back from those people. And the reason I could have, some worldly, shadowy people could have held back from those people was, basically they haven't healed yet. The Four of Swords is Libra energy. If we haven't healed from our past pain and heartbreak, and if we haven't been illuminated to the truth, and we haven't learned to love ourselves, and we kind of reject our own hopeful, believing, loving nature, we're going to be living more from our mind than our heart. And the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, which, we have mental conflict. And we have mental conflict about loving ourselves, believing in ourselves, believing in our dreams. We don't like the mental conflict we're in. There could be people we could like to heal things with. But our more worldly, shadowy nature can be, instead of taking this time, because the Knight of Pentacles in Virgo energy, the Knight of Pentacles and the Hermit is Virgo energy, we'd have to take this time to be willing to look at life from a higher perspective and offer love to our more worldly, fearful, defensive nature. And that all takes investing time, energy, and effort. And sometimes we don't want to invest that time, energy, and effort. We don't realize the importance of it. We're kind of ignoring the truth. And we think, I have an idea. And pride comes before the fall. I have an idea I'm going to go get in another relationship. Or I'm just going to go get a different job. Or get a different friend. I'm going to go invest in someone. That's it. That's my idea. And we're kind of still defensive to learning the lessons we were meant to learn, because our Virgo nature is the aspect of ourself that goes within to look at things we'd rather keep hidden in the dark, see the truth about people in our life that we've dealt with. If something didn't work out and we felt betrayed, are we willing to deal with the truth of it? How did I contribute to that not working out? Was I defensive? Was I loving? Did we have the same dream? Did we not have the same dream? Was I holding back? Did I get in a relationship with someone who holds back? Had I worked through my past pain and heartbreak and feelings of betrayal? Had they? Everybody at different stages in their life can have this work to do within themselves, but we could discredit how important it is, and kind of in our pride and ego. No, I don't got to deal with that. I'll just go get in another relationship. I am sure that one will work out. But, if we might get in relationships we might be drawn and attracted, which I think we are drawn and attracted to certain people because they are the people that could come into our life to really help us get clear about our life. It doesn't mean they have to be a good person. In a lot of ways, they could, we can have a lot of things in common with people. We both could be fearful. We could be codependent. We could be kind of defensive. We're kind of caught up in the worldly dream. They're kind of caught up in the worldly dream. You go through that phase of life where you're really more focused on all those things, I need to work on my career. Got to have a good job. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And, we're kind of so consumed and invested in this more worldly dream that sometimes we're not dealing with some other issues like love, and do I love myself? And, well, no, I don't have to love myself. I'll go get in a relationship with someone to love, and they'll love me. That's the answer. And, basically, if we haven't been enlightened to the truth that to love our own worldly nature and learn lessons in life, get out of our pride and ego and see the truth, that the most important lesson I think to learn is to love yourself and to offer love to the things and the people in your life who hurt and betrayed you, so that you can let it go and that you're no longer in defensive energy, but loving energy, putting work and effort to bring your dreams into reality. But we don't quite realize, like, sometimes we don't even realize it till we get in relationships with certain people, and then it's like, you kind of remind me of, you have some traits and characteristics like me, and things that we could like to do together, and we have some common things that we like and doing and enjoying, and might have a lot of similarities in a lot of ways of how we like to live our life. But sometimes I think we can get drawn and attracted to people who kind of might remind us of people who had held back from us in our life, or that were kind of maybe emotionally detached or superficial or bossy or controlling or defensive or materialistic or whatever. But with those people, like when we were young and we were kids, and it can be our siblings, it can be our parents. There's kind of a part of us that keeps feeling betrayed, that some people, that they didn't learn some lessons in life, and they held back from being as loving and nurturing and supportive and attentive as we wish they would have been, and we kind of feel betrayed, and we kind of don't realize that that same pain and heartbreak is still there, buried beneath the surface. And so then I think we kind of get drawn and attracted to people who kind of subconsciously remind us of those people. And now that we're able to get in a love relationship with them, because we're all adults now, and I can be in a romantic relationship with you, and I'm sure if I can be in a romantic relationship with you and you see how loving and nurturing and supportive I am, you're going to open up and love me. But we could get in relationships with people who, when we got in a relationship with them, they weren't very loving or nurturing or giving, and they could have been defensive, and they could have been someone who kind of likes to present themselves as loving, but don't really like to do love, the illusion of love, who still might need to heal, who hide from love, that, have their own past pain and heartbreak that they haven't dealt with. And then we expect them to change. Again, the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords, the fives talk about change. Kind of us and our ego. It's like telling God, look, God, I found this person who holds back in some ways that could be different than how I hold back, and has some issues and pain and heartbreak, just like I might have some pain and heartbreak, but I do have hope and faith and belief and love. I can heal them. And God's like, well, that's great. You go ahead and try, because God has been with them all their life, and loving energy has been around them all their life. But you could have gone through life situations, and you still have hope and faith and belief and love, even though you have your issues. But other people, they have their issues, and they could have decided, no, I'm not doing that. Gemini energy of the Lover's card is, it's a free will choice. In our dualistic nature, we can operate from a foundation of hope and faith and belief and love, or we cannot, and we can make our life more about ourself or our defensive nature or the world, and choose not to do love. And again, some people, we're emotionally complex human beings. And some people are like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with it. I know how to conduct myself in the world so that people view me as a loving person. I might have grown up with loving people. The way they live their life isn't how I want to live my life. My truth is, I might be more about being self-protective or myself or materialistic. And then we can think that we can heal and change people. Well, yes, love, being loving and encouraging and supportive to people are the best things to offer people, to try to get people to see the truth, to work through their mental conflict, to get out of healing, to see the truth, deal with the truth. Maybe there's a foundation they've been aligning with that they thought would make them happy, because in all these zodiac sign traits and characteristics, we can align with them in a high vibe, a more worldly, or a more shadowy way. And some people thought, I'm happy not doing love, and I'm happy being more about myself, self-indulgent, or about the world. And other people, it's like sometimes we get in these mismatched relationships. We have some people in our life that are moving forward with us. They're believe in truth and love and justice and fairness, and they're loving, and they've done some of this inner work within themselves. They don't align with their more investing in their more worldly nature, selfish nature. They've seen the truth and learned some lessons in life and looked at life from a higher perspective and have some hope and faith and belief in love, and they move forward in love. But there's other people that we could know in our workplace, in our community, in our family, people we get in relationships with where we're kind of more mismatched. One person's truth is, my truth is, I'm more about me, my defensive nature of the world. And that's kind of what we don't realize with this card not showing itself, because we can all get in relationships with people, and again, there could be the Four of Swords is Libra energy, where there's a lot of things we kind of have in common, that and ways we view life, ways we live life, some ways that we think are just and fair, and ways of viewing life that make us very compatible, and we're kind of able to get along. It's just that we just assumed that they view life the same way we do, like at a core foundational level. But one of the people was hiding that I don't really do love. And, the whole thing is we have lessons to learn about listening to our intuition and willing to deal with the truth, because we can all want to stay in denial of the truth. And if one person was kind of hiding, love isn't my truth, I will move forward with you in a relationship. I will maybe put in some work and effort to try to bring a dream into reality, but they might be more motivated by the ego and the image and the status of it and being in a relationship and enjoying the benefits of being in a relationship, but they're still defensive and not going to open up, and probably have no intention of ever detaching from that foundational way of viewing life that they hold on to. Where the other people, and also during the course of that job, friendship, or relationship, other people could get kind of inspired that, I have my own defensiveness and I have my own past pain and heartbreak, but I don't like carrying my baggage with me all my life. And so periodically, some other people do this work within themselves to look at life from a higher perspective and put things in perspective and just see the truth about different people they've dealt with in their life. And that everybody has different things that kind of manipulate them to make them view life the way they view life. And if they choose to never want to deal with the truth, then they don't ever deal with the truth, and they kind of keep moving forward the way they are. And we might not like it, but, everybody's got free will. And, we might distance ourselves and kind of keep our distance from certain people in our life, because we're just like on different pages, right? But and once I think people do this work within yourself, you know how much work that takes. And you can see why some people would rather give up and just go indulge themselves in the world or their ego or whatever, because it's painful, and it's hard to look at some of those things and kind of wrap your brain around it. But high vibe people do have hope and faith and belief in their dreams. And just because other people in their life held back from them, were defensive to love, are more superficial or shallow or whatever, I'm not willing to give up my dreams because of it. And I see how these things affect me and make me hold back. And if I were to offer that truth and love to myself and those situations, the one pentacle plus the four pentacles makes the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles is moving forward away from this old way of viewing life or living life. It sets us free. The truth sets us free. looking at life from a higher perspective, putting things in perspective, offering love and compassion to the whole situation, ourself and others. We've all had lessons to learn. We've all been immature, hurtful, unkind, whatever degree of shadow energy we have. And everybody else has got theirs, and some worse than others. And it's like, it's just different degrees of shadow energy. And I'm not going to let my own fears, insecurities, self-limiting beliefs. I don't want to be a more codependent energy, fearful energy, because there's going to be people in the world that want to be in a relationship with me and move forward with me being in that energy. You're perfect. So you're fearful or codependent or insecure or prideful or egotistical or immature. You're just right for me. You're like a dream come true. I was like, but I've already been in those kind of relationships, and it causes me a lot of mental conflict, and I end up feeling betrayed, and I want to move forward with people who have hope and faith and belief and love. So it's seeing the truth. It needs to start within me. And I need to learn to stand up to my own shadow nature and other people in my life that are in shadowy energy, to stand up for truth and love. And that if people don't treat me with truth and love, and I need to treat myself with truth and love, I'm going to turn my back to them. I'll wish them peace. I'll wish you truth and love, but I'm moving forward. And if you want to keep repeating that old pattern, you're going to have to repeat that pattern with someone else, because I've already been there and done that. And I'm going to heal from my heartbreak. And there could be people I love that hold back from me or are more selfish or greedy or whatever, defensive. I wish you peace, but I'm going to heal. I'm going to do this inner work. And even if some of those people I had been long-term friends with, wanted to be long-term friends with, are in my family, wanted them to be in my family, I'm going to do this work within myself to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. To not give up on my dreams. If there's people that seem to have a lot of mental conflict, that they're defensive to dealing with the truth of, or because the Five of Swords can be people that have a lot of mental conflict, or there's people who want to win at all costs and they don't care. It's really more all about them, and how dare you try to make them look at life differently. And, it's one thing to share your viewpoint. Other people don't have to share your viewpoint. They don't have to look at life the way you look at it. Just like if you had someone yapping at you, trying to get you to live your life differently because they think the way they live their life, which is different than your life, that you should live your life like that. It's like, I have my own dreams and aspirations and interests and things I enjoy, and I got free will to live my life. And they have free will to live their life. So we should see the truth. It's one thing to offer people truth and love to heal a relationship, but to also see the truth that if they don't want to invest, their dream is different than your dream, they're more worldly focused, self-focused, whatever they are, we see the truth of it and we wish them peace. And we see, my dream can't come into reality. The Six of Swords and the Queen of Swords I view as Aquarius energy. We all have our idea of the dream life, what we like to do, what we like to invest our time, energy, and effort into, what we don't, how we view life. And my dream can't come into reality with people who my truth is different than their truth. What I love and what motivates and inspires me is different than what they love and what motivates and inspires them. And so it's kind of getting out of our ego about it. I don't have to take it personally. I can be a loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, and some people are like, oh my God, get me away. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone like that. Well, that's not my idea of the dream life. I don't want to do love. I get hurt doing love. I want to wear my false mask. That helps me feel just and fair and stable. And maybe if I did love and I was betrayed, maybe it would throw me all out of balance. So I'm just not even going to do it. I might not think I could pick myself back up again. I'm willing to reject love and live more from my mind than my heart. And I think I'll be happy making my life about me or the world or these things I indulge in. That'll be good enough. That's my idea. And we just need to see the truth of it. Get out of our ego. It doesn't mean we weren't loving. Some of you are very loving, and some people know you're very loving, but you're like the devil. I could get hurt here. This gets me way in a danger zone that I am not willing to go there. And it's like, okay. So the high vibe people offer love to themselves and the situation to deal with the truth of it, so that they can let those people go to live their life the way they want. And they can go invest time, energy, and effort into bringing their dreams into reality. And that the divine wants our dreams come into reality. But if we keep holding on to people and ways of living life and viewing life that aren't in alignment with truth and love and having hope and faith and belief, and being in relationships with people who don't, how can our dream come into reality then? You know, high vibe Aquarius is willing to have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. And Virgo energy is about investing in yourself and knowing your worth and value. And we've all been given unique talent, skills, and interests that we can use, that we were like gifted with. Whether you're a math person or an English person or a customer service person or a nurse person, whatever your thing is. If we were to invest in those things were given to us as a gift for us to be able to bring our dreams into reality. But we have to invest in them and cultivate them and learn what they are. And, that can take the first 30, 40 years of our life to even find out what we like and what we're interested in and what we have a knack for, right? And then instead of clinging to this more worldly view of life and like, well, no, but I need this and I need that. And if I don't have that, the world told me if I had that, I'd be happy. It's like, well, you tried to do that and that didn't make you very happy. So maybe we should be open to doing things differently and try something else. We've all got to get out of our pride and ego to be willing to see the truth that not everything works out the way we want, and everybody else we're dealing with's got their own free will and they got their own issues to deal with. That, get out of our ego and say, you know what, I got to go with the flow. And when things aren't working out and we're not on the same page, and if I spoke my truth in love and they want to move forward differently, I got to accept the truth of it. Or I can sit here like pouting. It's like, that's not going to get me anywhere. I can keep sitting here betrayed and defensive. And it can take time. Scorpio complex emotions. We can have a lot of complex emotions for someone. We can be like, I know they're an asshole. I know they're a narcissist. I know they're immature. But, we have these complex feelings. I hate them. I love them. I don't ever want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. And it takes time because we are these emotionally complex human beings. But that makes us not a computer or a robot. And that's part of going on the roller coaster of life emotionally. We could do like some other people who say, I'm not even getting on the roller coaster. I'm going to stay over here on the merry-go-round. I know, it's not as exciting. I won't have the life experience that some other people have. And other people said, I got on the roller coaster. Not everything's going to work out the way I want. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons from all these different people I've come in contact with. And I found out not everybody's motivated by love, and some people are really consumed with themselves or ego or image or lust or greed or pride or ego or defensiveness. And I'm going to take all those lessons with me as I move forward. And I'm going to offer truth and love to more people in the world. And I'm going to listen to my intuition about people. And if, as I offer, communicate with people and get to know people, that I kind of see that, yeah, they're just not people who are very open, because high vibe energy too is loving and warm and authentic and, you know, people who freely give of themselves emotionally. And the people who don't, it's like, yeah, I think you hide from love. I've known some people like that. Yeah, I kind of think you might wear a false mask. You might try to present yourself as a loving family person. But my intuition is telling me that, I don't think that's true. Or, I think you're more about yourself or ego or image. And I've already been there and done that. But if I keep, I can know a lot of people in my life. Am I going to invest in holding on to them and like getting in a relationship or a marriage with them? No, because I've already been there and done that and learned that what didn't work out the way I wanted. So I've learned not to indulge my own more selfish nature and lustful and greedy and blah 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 nature. I'm going to get to know people to find out their truth of what they're hiding, of what they find emotionally fulfilling, which again could be themselves. They like to indulge themselves and they want you to indulge them. They like to wear a false mask and they like to make their life about ego and image and status and looking like a shining star, and they want you to make your life about that too. And it's like, I've been there and I've done that, and it lacks abundance because it can have all those things of the world, but it's lacking creativity, inspiration, authenticity, and love. And that's what I'm looking for. We all want stability and security, and we'd all like to enjoy the finer things in life, and we're all putting in our own work and effort to have those things. But high vibe energy is balanced energy. It is some of these things of the world, and, truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity. And some people are like, that's ridiculous. I'm all in on the world or being about me. And they could be looking for people who are willing to make their life all about them or all about these things of the world, because that's what they find enjoyable. And they just need to find other people who are on the same page. Other people want a more balance. I don't need all the attention. It doesn't have to be all about me. I don't need all the money. I don't need all the power and influence. When is enough enough? Balance is about moderation. But for some people, pride and ego and them being the center of attention is like an addiction, just like people get addicted to drugs or alcohol. Enough is never enough. Other people are able to invest in the world within reason. I don't give those things of the world that much power in my life because I keep things in perspective and I love myself. So I can go enjoy things in the world without letting them, because our shadow nature, our more worldly nature is represented by the devil. Those things that kind of get us, pull us into a little bit of hell. And it's really hard to get out of. And then we just got some lessons to learn. And some of you might have learned some lessons that other people haven't learned. Maybe just to be a more loving person, and other people haven't learned that. You got to temper your ego to not be just all about yourself, to work cooperatively with people and be loving and giving of yourself. And other people maybe don't have as much experience with it, and they're going to go learn some hard lessons. They might get in relationships with people who do view life just like them, and they could have thought when they were in relationships with more loving, encouraging people, these people do want me to look at life from a higher perspective. I don't. Some of these people want me to grow up and mature myself. I think I'm a shining star. I don't think I need to do that. I'm going to go do life like I want to go do it. And if they get in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, eventually they might end up feeling betrayed because they also don't like being in a relationship with someone who's like themselves. If nobody in the relationship is really willing to open up, be loving, be nurturing, be authentic, well, that can seem like a pretty much living from your mind, right? And some people do, though. This makes logical, practical sense. We should stay in this relationship. But it's just lacking in warmth and authenticity and inspiration. But if that keeps them in their comfort zone where they feel stable kind of within themselves, then, it's kind of like trying to push people out onto the stage of their life or to be more authentic or be more bold and brave and confident. Just at times in our life, if people had been like, no, you should go out there and you should do this and we're going to make you do that. It's like, you could end up being crying and you can't do it because you don't have the foundation within yourself to do it. If everybody was more free of things that manipulated them, would a lot of people be a lot more just and fair and kind and loving and nurturing? Probably. But they don't have that foundation within themselves. And, everybody's kind of on different journeys. All serves a purpose in the big picture. We're just supposed to see the truth, get out of our ego about it, invest in our truth, let other people invest in their truth, and believe that if life is about learning lessons and we learned what wasn't aligned with our truth, then it's like we're ready for the next lesson. And if life is about learning lessons, the next lesson will come into our life. But a big part of that lesson could be taking this time not getting involved with other people in a way, to do this work within yourself so that when you are ready to move forward, you are in that place of, I am able to speak my truth from a place of love, maintain balance within myself, keep things in perspective so people can't tip me out of balance and tempt me in my more pride or ego or fear or codependency. And I'm able to keep things in perspective, stay stable and grounded, and see the truth and deal with the truth and speak my truth in truth and love. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming up? And I think as some of you are doing that, there can be other people that have learned these lessons in life that could be looking at you, and they're looking for people. The people who've moved ahead of us in life, and as we're moving ahead, we're always kind of looking, when are some other people going to learn some of these lessons and come on my path, right? And other people are looking for people who are on that path because they also have been waiting for people who seem to be the right people for them, and doing this work within them. And there might be someone who, we all at times in our life have to think about too. We could be moving forward in life, maybe, and some people get in new friendships, jobs, and relationships. It's like, wait a minute. Is this my truth? Do I need to retreat here and take some time to heal? Did I kind of get tempted in my ego? Was I living more from my mind than my heart? Am I trying to get someone to change? Are they trying to change me? Do I feel betrayed? Am I defensive? Do they feel betrayed? Are they defensive? Kind of periodically, even when we're in the midst of relationships, we have to do this checking as to why, and everybody should be doing that in the midst of a relationship. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And I can only know why I do what I do. Am I keeping things in perspective? Am I being truthful and loving? Are the people I'm in relationship with being truthful or loving, or do they seem to be holding back from me? Why? I thought we had the same truth. Are we willing, in love, to communicate our truth to try to heal relationships? And some people are trying to heal relationships with people, but it's a mismatched relationship. And they could have been kind of defensive to wanting to see the truth. Some of them are still defensive to wanting to see the truth. Like, I am going to make this work if it kills me. And that's our free will choice. And other people could be seeing the truth that I'm done trying to put in work and effort to bring this dream into reality with someone who apparently is defensive to investing in that, operating from that foundation. And the Four of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, and it can just represent the foundation that we operate from. But high vibe Capricorn is about, because shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil, that I am motivated and inspired, and what I view, Capricorn's kind of about what you view as victorious. I do view truth and love and justice and fairness and being open and being giving and acting with character and integrity makes me feel proud of myself. And that is just as valuable to me as having status or image or money and materialism. And again, we do live in the world. We have these dreams and we want some stability and security in our life, but it's not the end all be all or the most important driving factor in our life. It's truth and love. And if we're with people who it's like, I refuse, that's just not my truth. Some people could just now be starting to see the truth. Other people could want to know the truth about something in the past. Why'd you move away from these people? And then you got in a relationship with me, or you got in a relationship with someone else. What happened back here? And some people might be trying to hide the truth that some of the people in their life were loving people. But those people kind of wanted them to step out of their comfort zone and maybe not willing to just stay in the relationship out of codependency or stability and security. They really wanted them to walk the talk, because if we add the 1 to the 4, we have the 5, which is Taurus energy. And high vibe Taurus energy is where you walk the talk. And the other people are like, well, no, I like to create the illusion I walk the talk, but I don't, I'm really more about me or the world or my ego or my image and fear and codependency. And those people wanted to move forward in life, and that was out of my comfort zone. And I think if people told the truth that was out of my comfort zone, then maybe they're more bold and brave and confident. Maybe they look at life differently than me. I think people could understand that, but see, that's not really just it. It could have been more, I kind of like to wear a false mask. I'm defensive of being hurt. I have this way of viewing life to make me feel safe. And instead of doing this inner work to heal from these issues that make me feel unsafe and defensive to love, I might try to control and manipulate people in a relationship. And I don't like it when they work through their issues. And then when they do work through their issues and kind of free themselves, then I'm mad at them and defensive to them because I don't want to do that. And then they don't want to tell people the truth. Well, they were loving and nurturing and supportive and encouraging, and I didn't want to do that. And some people in their life, that some of the shadowy people got new relationships, trying to bring a dream into reality. If they're mismatched, one is putting this work and effort to bring a dream into reality, to have this new beginning, to detach from the past, to move forward. And the other person's like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's like, the pattern keeps repeating over and over. High vibe people have seen the truth. They're investing in people who they think and perceive as being on the same page as them. What's the possible outcome coming up for people that they don't see coming? The truth. Why? Because of the 6 of Cups. Well, for one thing, if you kind of got in a mismatched friendship or relationship, workplace, as time goes by and high vibe people are being authentic and loving, and they're not acting out of pride and ego and defensiveness and lust and greed or whatever, people see the truth that you've moved on and that you've made peace with the past. And, and they also could probably see that you're someone the Six of Cups is Scorpio energy, that you're someone who likes to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. And you might have been in some relationships with people who are a little more emotionally shallow and superficial. And, eventually the truth comes to light of kind of what drives and motivates people. And if people have healed, if people are more egotistical, if people are more materialistic, and people see that the high vibe people want to be in just and fair, because the sixes can talk about balance. They want to be in a balanced relationship, not tipped out of balance where it's more about one person or so much about these things of the world consuming them. Can't we have a balance of both and also be authentic and loving and learn lessons in life and get out of our defensiveness and our past pain and heartbreak and work together in love? And other people see the truth of it, and there's going to be other people who want to be in relationships with you. People from your past, people from your present. Some of you could be getting new jobs or people from your job. And as you move forward, you're going to meet other people, you know? And other people are going to see the truth that you are who you say you are. You're not trying to manipulate people or create an illusion. You're being truthful and honest. And I think as you do that, keep investing your time, energy, and effort into people who do seem to work together with you in that energy. Let the people who don't go find someone else to repeat that pattern with, because you've been there and done that, and you saw that it's kind of like being in a relationship. Say you're hanging out with people and they kind of act like, I don't know, backstabby or immature or cocky or arrogant, kind of like you were used to hanging out with, like people in high school or something, or junior high. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, no. You gotta go find, I do not want to repeat that old pattern. I've been there and done that. And I'm moving on. And I will be holding back from some of the people in my life, even if those people are like, no, no, you should move forward with me and you should view me as a loving person and we would look like shining stars together. It's like, yeah, no, I think our truth is different. What is coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy that they might not see coming? We have 3 cards not showing themselves, and the reason is because of the Lover's card. Well, we can all have different people in our life who love us, right? Friends, family, adult children, siblings, co-workers, whatever. But some of these people are defensive to the truth that it's supposed to be about love. They kind of love their more worldly nature. That is their truth, and they think that's just and fair. And then they get mad when other people don't view life that same way, or since they defend being more about maybe themselves, they get mad when other people won't make their life more about them, because they make their life more about them. They have this way of viewing life. Maybe they grew up being kind of indulged and people indulging them in their kind of poor behavior. And then they get mad when other people won't indulge them in their poor behavior. How dare you think that I have some lessons to learn? I am a shining star. I will go find someone else and tell them I am this loving person and that you are this awful person and that they should invest in me. Maybe because they think they have these things of the world. Because Capricorn energy is Earth sign energy too, that represents these things of the world. Maybe they're attractive and charming or good looking or got money or look like a shining star, wear a good false mask. And some of these people just don't get it. I don't understand why some people hold back from me. Why do they go get in relationships with that person? I have what that person has. But the difference is the other people work together with people. This card has like the little children in it. Kind of looks like to me. Where you can let your more hopeful, believing, authentic, loving nature out to play in the world like your friends and your kids, and you play with each other and you share your toys, and you work cooperatively with people and you have authentic, deep, meaningful relationships. And these people, it's more of a strategy. Well, I'm going to look like this, act like this, talk like this, try to mimic like those people, but I'm like a false person. I'm operating from my ego, a mental construct. I don't let my more authentic, loving nature out to play. They could get hurt. So I let my ego run my life and I wear my false mask. And then they wonder why people don't want to keep staying in a relationship with them. Someone who's basically not being authentically themselves. And they're always going to have people in their life who would like to be in a relationship with them, that could have been putting work and effort to be in a relationship with them. But they keep being defensive to wanting to see the truth, that maybe they need to open up and maybe have some hope and faith and belief in themselves and other people. Just because other people have been hurtful or unkind or bossy or egotistical or manipulative doesn't mean everyone is. Are we willing to listen to our intuition? But it's our more emotional, intuitive, loving nature is when we're more connected in with our intuition. And some people are like, nope, I got to be practical and logical. Some people are being defensive to the people that their intuition is telling them they should be in a relationship with. I get hurt with them. Nope, 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 not going to go there. No, I'm going to try to get these other people to get in a relationship with me. But anyway, as long as they're doing that, there's going to be other people in their life who align with love, who've been offering them love, and they're like, nope, not going to do it. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life can't figure it out. Why are you acting like that? Why aren't you opening up? Or, and sometimes it's like, I think you weren't being truthful and honest. You didn't really want to do love anyway. You are maybe just mad at someone else. You wanted someone else. Like you were maybe trying to manipulate someone else that if you move forward with me in a relationship, you would get that person to come towards you. And that maybe could have been your goal the whole time. And of course, then maybe we didn't want to see the truth of it. But anyway, some high vibe people in their life are doing this work within themselves. The Queen of Swords, the Two of Swords, and the Star card. Some high vibe people in their life have been defensive to listening to their intuition because they wanted this dream to come into reality. And they maybe been putting in work and effort and being loving and encouraging to try to make the dream come into reality. But eventually, we can only hide from the truth for so long, which is the Two of Swords, Libra energy, wanting to stay in denial of the truth. Because we really want that dream to come into reality. But we kind of see that we're mismatched people in how we harness our Aquarius energy. One is more defensive and about themselves or the world, and the other one has hope and faith and belief in love. They love different things, or one is open to love and one only loves himself in their more self-deceptive, self-protective nature, and they like to stay in denial of the truth. And eventually the other people feel betrayed. They feel stuck. And then they kind of realize, why do I stay in this? This person seems to have a lot of mental conflict about love or getting out of their head and working through what they need to work through. And eventually they see the truth. The only person I can change is me. And I'm going to choose to love myself and give myself the things I wish other people would have given me. I'm not willing to give up my dreams. And I see my dream can't come into reality here. And those people get out of defending someone who seems to be in two minds about bringing the dream into reality. And they get out of feeling betrayed. And they move on. And the Four of Pentacles comes after the Three of Pentacles, where you were working cooperatively with someone and trying to, and then you see the truth. I need to hold back from this person because they're not willing to work cooperatively with me. And eventually some high vibe people in their life leave. And some of the shadowy people, you know, well, you were willing to stay before. You were willing to indulge me before. You weren't willing to leave before. And then they feel betrayed. But they were the one who was holding back the truth and holding back from love. But they have their way of how they want to live life. You have your way of living life. And you just kind of realize the foundation you operate from and your idea of the dream life and dream relationship is different. And eventually high vibe people in their life realize that too. And they move on. And the people who might end up staying in a relationship with them could be people who kind of love some of the same things they love. They might be people who are defensive to love also, who also like to wear a false mask, who have some healing to do, but instead of dealing with those issues in their family or in their past, or seeing the truth that they're kind of self-indulgent, they have an idea, yeah, I'll get in a relationship with you. But they might be hiding that the reason they're willing to stay in the relationship is because they've been betrayed, they feel stuck, and this would make it look like they've moved on and make them look like a shining star. And it isn't really love that drives them, motivates them. It's these other things that they love, or the money, or the status, or the whatever. The other people are going to be in balanced, deep, meaningful relationships. The Lover's card used to be called the Choice card, and Gemini energy is about our free will choice. And some people, it's like, no, I'm not going to do love. It's more important. And they might want to stay in denial of it, that they're more about themselves or materialism and ego. But other people can see the truth, and some other people might kind of distance themselves from them. You know, who likes to hang out with people if they're braggarts or it's just superficial and shallow, and look what a wonderful life I have, and oh my goodness, we just love each other so much. And everybody can tell that it's like, yeah, I don't think this is love. I think it's something else that's driving this relationship. And they can see the truth about other people's relationships. So there you go, Scorpio energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.